But they did, and there was like other ones that had like the jewel in the eye. Oh, girls liked that, let me tell you. I have a couple of those. And you needed the dream castle. I had the dream castle, and there was just a bunch of stuff. And they had the books, they had the puzzles, they had all sorts of stuff. Now it's just overload. The My Little Ponies. There was a time when I was in high school, they looked, I remember a friend of mine, we were going through Walmart and we looked at the My Little Ponies that were when we were in high school, and we're like, they're giraffes. The necks were way too long. They weren't ponies. They were scary. But yeah, so, they were My Little Ponies. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are depressing now. They've evolved so much that they're just not. And the one thing that I keep running into, which, here's the thing, I don't mind so much that they are still around. You know, it's one thing that they're still here, because I always hate that generations seem to think that the original generation hates that the new, you know, that the current generation has latched onto their thing. No, that has nothing to do with it. It's that they've evolved so much that they didn't stick to the original animation. It's I don't know what it is. Why didn't they stick to the original animation? You can still do the computer animation and make it look the same. They look, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of the computer animation as much as I used to be. I mean, when Toy Story came out, it was, you know, like, oh, this is awesome. Now they're just killing it, you know. Rainbow Bright was another one. I loved Rainbow Bright. I loved her horse. I had bed sheets of Rainbow Bright, and my mom still has them. And I think one of the reasons is so that she can bring up the fact that I was scissor happy and I did cut them. Not big, but there's just a little thing. I mean, I don't know why she doesn't just mend them. I mean, it's like, she's like, yeah, there's like this little part right here where you cut them. I'm like, yeah, and you could pull out a thread and needle and just whatever, Mom. Yeah, but there was that, and gosh, there was, and looking back, there were a lot of rainbows, so like Rainbow Bright and My Little Pony. My Little Pony had it in the thing, in the title. Not too long ago, I watched the Care Bears movie. Not the very first. There's one of them that has like this twisted magician. We had that taped on VHS, and I have no clue why, because I was not big on Care Bears. One of my cousins was. I have a lot of cousins, by the way. One of my cousins was big on Care Bears. Either she was or her mom was. My family is really weird like that, because our parents were really big on it, so they were pushing it on us, but we weren't really that excited about it. And I'm sure there's a lot of other kids that when they look back, they're like, no, I didn't really want it. It was more my mom's thing. But, yeah, so, there's My Little Pony. I'm looking at it right now, so that's probably why I repeated it. And, Care Bears, that was what I was talking about. I'm sorry, my mind wandered for a second there. Care Bears, and I was watching one of the one that I saw was one that I remembered. Again, sorry about the, noise on the road. But it's that emo thing. It comes out sometimes. One of the movies for Care Bears was the one, some of you may remember it or have seen it, where it's the camp and and that evil kid like tears them apart, and then they're supposed to care. And I mean, when you're a kid you understand the moral of the story, but when you grow up and you're watching it, you're like, this is the corniest thing I've ever seen. But the Twisted Magician one was scary, and even when I watched bits of it now, it is a little spooky. Like, okay, this is a little... But, you know, that's one thing that I love about this. These days, it's like you're so concerned about what kids can and can't watch. I am so glad for the 80s because, excuse my language, but zero fucks were given back then. And I don't know why I had to say that, but seriously, nobody cared. I mean, one of my favorite movies when I was growing up was Great Mouse Detective, and there was smoking and drinking, and there was a bar scene, there was a bar fight. Nobody cared. Another one was An American Tail. Wonderful movie. Absolutely wonderful movie. That one was 1986, I believe. Yeah, 1986. And that was the same year that Great Mouse Detective was released. And another movie from the 80s was Land Before Time. The mom is killed. I mean, this dinosaur movie where there's dinosaurs clashing and the mom dies. Sorry for those that haven't seen it, but yeah, that's what happens. And then Littlefoot has to go to this promised land. And then you have the Transformers movie. Great movie. I mean, these movies were more about, you know, they were... Same with the My Little Pony. I mean, even the My Little Pony movie, which is corny as ever, but they were using right and wrong, good and evil, and it was great. I mean, kids were going to the theater to see Star Wars in 1977. Little kids. Now it's like, that's not good. These parents and grandparents who saw Star Wars in the theater are like, they're too young. It's like, you were 3 when you saw Star Wars, and what is wrong with you? Oh, gosh. We grew up on stuff like, what was it, Masters of the Universe, Skeletor. I loved Skeletor more than I loved He-Man. You know, you had a lot of these other ones that they loved Skeletor. I mean, they loved He-Man. He-Man was the hero, but I love Skeletor. Seemed to know what was going on. He was my favorite. And I've said it before in one of my other videos, but Legend of Zelda, I love that cartoon. And not just because it's based on my favorite video game. I know a lot of you Zelda fans now are watching and you're like, oh gosh, this is awful. Try to find the original the first 2 games, play them, and then maybe you'll understand where I'm coming from. Where the original fans. Maybe. Maybe not, who knows. It's that generation gap thing. Anyway,